sea, caught in a landslide, no escape from reality.
Hey guys, Underground Geek here. So I want to talk about a comic book here, and I decided to do issue 1. I've read all 5 issues. I'm moving on to volume 2, but I decided to do issue 1 and just kind of introduce you to the series and let you know what it's about. That way you could go out and read it yourself. I don't know about volume 2. Like I said, I haven't read it yet, but volume 1 was actually very fun. And see, this is why it's a big deal for me to say this. A lot of people say there's no big deal about this comic book, but I exclusively only liked hero comics. That's just what I liked. And as far as TV shows, I love Dragon Ball Z and things like that. That's just what I liked. Very high testosterone, just action-packed books and things of that nature, because that's just what I view as being great. And so then I read, or I saw some art from Joelle Jones in some of the DC books, and I was just like, wow, this is so good, this is so good. So then, of course, just like anybody else, I started looking around to see other things that she made, and because I didn't have any idea who this person was. So I looked it up, and after checking it out, I saw that it's pretty good. So the book that I'm talking about is Lady Killer. This is a book by Joelle Jones. Now I'm going to look and see right here what all she's done on the book on the title page. Okay, so the story is by Joelle and Jamie S. Rich. The art's by Joelle. The colors by Laura Allred. The letters are by Crank. The cover's by Joelle Jones and Laura Allred. And the designer is Kat Larson. And assistant editors are Jeremiah, whoever they are. But so this is kind of like her thing. It's kind of like her baby. She did some of the writing, she did the art, she did the covers, things like that. Most of the design is her. And it's a very fun comic because it does this 1950s trope of a housewife husband lifestyle, the whole kit and caboodle. But then it has a really dark turn, which was still fun because the character is so well written. Now, I watched an interview with Joelle Jones, and she was talking about this character. I'm going to try to find the interview so that I can put it in the comment section, but when she was describing this character, I was kind of awestruck because, like somebody else had pointed out, I just thought it was a good interview. I thought, hey, she described it very well. But somebody pointed out and they said, wait a second, you mean she's not trying to push politics and she's trying to do a good character? And I was like, whoa, it just hit me, She was trying to make this character believable. She wasn't trying to make this female character like the best character there ever was. She was just trying to make it a believable story. And so that's where it kind of hit me that this could be good, So then I read it and I had fun. I binge read the whole 5 issues just because the story is very fast paced, very fast moving, and the only downside I would say to these 5 issues is it could have been longer. The phone always rings. But anyway, so getting back into this, it's a very good story. Let me tell you a little bit about what's going on here. Basically, you have this housewife. The story starts with her. She's knocking on doors. Okay, she's knocking on doors. The lady comes to the door. The lady that comes to the door is very disheveled. Got a barking dog. She's smoking. I mean, it's the 1950s trope of a rough woman. And then you've got our main character standing there, and she looks I thought she was a stewardess at first with the outfit that she had on, and she said Avon, and I was thinking, man, this is so 1950s, but the women nowadays down here in the South, still sell Avon, and they actually when you sell Avon and you're so good, they give you free cars. So some people, and it's all Cadillacs, and they're pink. And no, that's Mary Kay. That's Mary Kay does that. Avon gets a couple of other things. I was thinking Mary Kay is huge down here in the South. If you don't know what that is, congratulations, because you don't want to know. So basically, she knocks on the door. The lady answers. She introduces herself, says, hey, my name's Mrs. Anderson. blah, blah, blah. Can I come in and show you some makeup? So she comes in, sits down. The lady's just being, very, she doesn't like salespeople. She's being very, whatever, shut down. She's got like 16 dogs barking. And so the main character is sitting there. She's just very calm. She's very proper. And she says, Miss Roman, when was the last time you took time out for beauty? And so then they get to talking. She says, I would love to show you the new colors for the season, have a shade of blush to match every occasion. The lady's being very combative about it, and then she says, she just basically grabs the lady's mouth, puts the lipstick on her. She says, take this new line of corals, for instance. It's just a thing for a woman with your coloring. And then sprays her with perfume. She gets upset about that. And while she's spraying her with perfume and she's coughing and hacking, she drops something in the lady's coffee. And I was like, oh, what's this all about? So then the lady goes to try to drink the coffee, and the stupid dogs run by and make her spill the coffee all over. So that doesn't work. So then as the lady is going to get some cleaning products under the sink, we see our character stand there with a hammer, and then something's going different. And she says, then she calls out the lady's real name, and she says, what? She says, yeah, that's your real name, right? I have no idea who wants you dead or why. All I know is that for the money they're paying me, there must have been a darn good reason. I was like, oh, what's happening here? So then it's on. They're fighting. They're basically, this would be a good beginning of a movie. You have the big fight scene, and then it's getting crazy. They're tumbling around. They're basically grabbing anything they can get, and you can tell that both women have some kind of training, but they're basically just having it out with each other. And she pulls the lady's hair, gets her in a chokehold, and grabs a knife and just does the lady in. And so at that point, she's laying there dead, and then the main character is like, darn it, I got blood on me. So she's got blood on her dress, ruined her dress. The dogs are walking around in the blood. I felt bad for the dogs because I was like, who's going to take care of the little doggies? But then we have, she goes home, and we have a completely different scene here. She's at home. She's Betty Homemaker. The kids are all dressed up like little Indians. They're playing. She's got two cute little kids. Basically, they're twins. They've got to be twins. And she says, y'all quit doing that. Y'all quit messing around. She says, listen to your mother. And the little kids are just like, hee, hee, hee. And so Dad comes home. He looks basically like every 1950s dad you've ever seen in a movie. He says, hello, darling, busy day. And she said, oh, the usual. And then one of the kids says, I'm a squash. And she says, you're a squaw, honey, because she's a little Indian kid. And I'm going to say Indian. Y'all can get mad all you want. And then we get the mother-in-law sitting there, and she starts chatting off in German. The dad says, look, Josie, which is the main character, can't speak German. And then she says in a proud mama voice, your wife, she is coming home late from butcher, and there is no supper on the table. And she says, I'm sorry, Jean. I went out for a little shopping, and I ran to some of the gals. Dean will be ready in a minute. And then that basically, sets the tone, because then what's going to be going on. That mom does not trust this lady. That's going to be the conflict in this book. Something's going to happen. But then Josie gets a phone call, and the phone call is her handler, basically. And he's calling her. He's got a new task for her. She's trying to play it off. She's saying things like, oh, I'm sorry, it's a dinner hour. I can't take sales calls right now. And then the guy says, meet me later, blah, blah. And she hangs up. Then she says, oh, dinner's ready. So then they're watching TV. The family's all hanging around, and the dad's just sitting there without his underpants on. He's got everything else on but underpants. It's hilarious, though. It's really hilarious. So they're sitting there watching TV, and then there's a knock at the door. So they go to check, or the wife gets up, and I didn't really like this, but it seems kind of like into that trope. He says, go see who it is, would you, dear? And I'm like, no. You get up off your fat tuchus and go answer that door. Why are you making your wife answer the door? Like, what if it's some stranger that wants to hurt her or something? I mean, duh, to have some common sense. But you know, they play him off as this very dumb husband, which is okay because they don't really develop the character besides the fact that he's just oblivious to her lifestyle. So that's fine with me. So she answers the door, and it's this guy in a suit. He has a wrench in his hand. He says, "Evening, ma'am. I've come about the sewage problem." And she says, "What are you doing here?" But she has a different look on her face. You can tell by the character she has two different looks. She has the wife look, and then she has the business look that she does with her eyes, which is very good that Joelle Jones does. Basically you find out that he is the handler, her handler, and then you go ahead and get in this conversation where they're talking about the job. And this is where it kind of got on my nerves just some with this guy character, because he's very much the ladies' man. You can tell it when he's talking to her, and she's not really biting. You know, and he says, "Got any leaks that need plugged?" And she's like, "Charming." And then the husband said, "Who is it?" And then that's when she gets very surprised and shocked. She goes, "Oh, it's just Marge from next door. You know, it's about something else." And he says, "Oh, hey there, Marge." And the guy's like, "Hey, handsome." She says, "Enough." So she walks him to his car. It's raining, and this is another one of those character developments here. This is a 1950s housewife. She would not walk outside in the rain in a dress with no jacket, no umbrella, whatnot. So this is their different personality coming out. And I know it's a small thing, but it's little things like that, you know, that kind of develop the character. And she says, "You've got a lot of nerve coming to my house, Peck." And he says, "I got a job that needs doing, Josie. You're going to do it or not?" And she says, "What are the details?" So basically they talk it over, and the mother-in-law actually sees her out there talking to the man. And I was like, oh no. So she gets the details for the new job. It's at a bar, but it's a special kind of bar where the girls dress very raunchy. And so he says, "Normally I wouldn't give you such a high-profile job, but this creep's got bodyguards, lots of them. None of my guys have been able to get close to him." And he says, "You know, you're the only one that's got the right thing to get close to him." And she says, "What?" And he says, "Boobs." And so she's like, "Oh, great." And he says, "Come on, I'm just teasing you." She said, "There's no need to be vulgar." And so then you get this back and forth kind of talking going on. He gives her the job and leaves. And the whole time I'm thinking, she better not cheat on her husband with this jerk, because I will riot if she does. But it's very funny. It develops the story, and then we get the preview of the next issue where she's wearing a crazy outfit. And so that's basically where we end. She gets the job, and that's it. And it's a very fast-moving comic book. You know, it doesn't have a whole lot going on besides just a couple of things, but it's developing. The first issue is developing it. We get an editor's page here where they're all writing to quote-unquote Josie, and then the editors are writing back. And it's neat, very old 50s style paper coloring on that part. And then you get a preview for the next issue. And I gotta say, this had me intrigued right here. I mean, I went through there and binge read all 5 issues. So I mean, it's got to tell you something that it's pretty good. But it's very interesting. It's just very interesting to me. It's got that whole Mr. and Mrs. Smith kind of vibe to me, you know. So it got my attention. And then it's got a pretty good bit of action in it. More believable action, like she's having these little knockout drag-outs with people. It's nothing too insanely crazy. They're going to develop the character more later on. You're going to find out why she's doing this, who she is, and things like that, what her nature is with the family. So I would definitely suggest reading this book. The first issue is very good. One of my friends, DMI, that owns a comic book store, Second Prince, is supposed to be getting me a couple of these issues just because it's very fun. I'd like to have them. But the art style is just great. I love this art style. I didn't think I'd like it at all, coming from my background of like superheroes. But I really like this. It's really fun. I mean, Joelle does a great job of drawing women. She does a great job with her colorist does a great job as well. And it's just fun. It's fun getting to see where this character is going. Why is she killing these people? Why is she basically a hitman in 1950s America? But yeah, definitely check it out. I'm going to do some more issues. I got my news video coming out tonight. I've been trying to get it done, but man, it's so busy around here. But I hope you liked the video. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'll talk to you guys later. Underground Geek out.
I wish I knew you when I was young.